Do you decide you want one?
I'm the old section.
No, it's
Yeah, the historic. The old,
No, it's the number 3.
My family lives in Maryland.
yeah.
Yeah. Off of it.
Oh, really?
Yep, I'm just getting the live stream set up.
A long time? Long enough. Okay. Okay. And do you dig it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, lots of parcels.
Okay, so
Are we 6:30?
if you give me just a moment. Yeah, I just want to get the, you mind sitting next to me, Diana?
No.
Let me know.
I think we are fine. Just, is the line, is that blue?
No, it's not. That's why.
It's just a back connection. Okay, so we are live. I can close that. I can close that.
Hi, I'll be with you. Yes, I should.
We'll grab you a chair just 1 second.
Yes.
We're sorry.
No, it's okay.
Hey, we're gonna fit. We're good.
No worries. Casual. Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
Have fun. No.
Yet, or anyone that would like to speak tonight, I do need a card filled out. Would anyone like to have a card so they can speak or? I've got one here for Deanna.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, you have one, but I don't know what happens to it.
Okay.
What is your first name, please?
Renee. Renee.
Can this be moved back so we can have some ivy, please?
We squeeze it back, yeah, thank you.
Well, the podium is.
What do you mean, maybe the podium?
Go too far. I think you were running away with it. That's the scam.
We have to stand here.
Whatever.
All right, Matt,
Root it out.
call the meeting order.
Do you want to start? Okay, that's fine. Okay, Rebecca's gonna go ahead and start. Yes.
Well, welcome all. We are very excited to see, as several have already said, to see an audience here. My name is Rebecca Rodarte, and I am the president. Just for purposes of clarification, I have asked Ms. Johnson to assist me. I've had some visual issues this year, but I am surpassing it as much as possible. So I want to thank Ms. Johnson for assisting me tonight. Ms. Johnson.
Not a problem. The first thing we're gonna do is, we'll do our pledge to the flag. Everyone can stand. Oh. Okay, I was thinking that what Rebecca did call the meeting to order. Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I just wanted to report, we did have a closed session earlier concerning real property negotiation, and there is no reportable action from that closed session. Next, Mr. DeWitt, do we have any presentations or recognitions? Oh, yeah, I can do that too.
Roll call.
Edgar
Castella.
Present.
Jose Luis Godinez.
Present.
Rebecca Redoorte Burns.
Present.
Kim Gerald Johnson.
Here,
Ross Leisha.
Here.
Thank you very much.
okay, got so many things going on tonight. Now, do we have any presentations?
No, we have no presentations tonight.
Now we have public comments, and the first public comment was Deanna Connor.
Hello, I live in Mariloma on 48th Street. And one of the reason why I'm here is I heard that you were thinking about making a baseball field park, hopefully with one of the properties that the water company owns over on Marlette, between I think 54th and 56th. And basically, I just would like it to be an equestrian, more of an equestrian arenas and stuff like that, because I think it'll be better served for the people that are actually there than the baseball fields, because we do have a lot of baseball fields around us, not right in Mariloma, but like in Sky Country and across from Sky Country, and they're free. You don't have to pay to go in there. Now, Field of Dreams, I know you have to pay for that. Before Field of Dreams was put in, they put a big giant sign up there, showing the Field of Dreams. And at the very end, they showed an equestrian center that they were going to put in. And I used to ride in that field. And I thought, oh, that's cool. They're going to put an equestrian. Well, then I'm okay with it. But the equestrian never was put in there. So I was really bummed about that. So I'm really, really hoping that maybe you guys could, in that one field, put an equestrian.
Thank you. Thank you. Renee, is that? Okay.
Hi, so yes, my name is Renee, and I just want to second what Deanna had said there, that we've lived out in Mariloma for years and years. And actually, I'm sorry, I forgot your name again, Colby. I went to a meeting and ended up coming face to face with one of the builders there and discussing what's happening when they're building, and that we are getting less and less on the home sides and stuff, but for our area, and discussing bait and switch, things that are promised when builders come in and then we lose them. And like what Deanna had stated there, when Field of Dreams came in, matter of fact, I know somebody that when Field of Dreams, it was supposed to have been a public park automatically. It was supposed to be a public park. Then it changed to Field of Dreams. My friend, her kids went to play sports over there. So instead of being a free park that they could go practice and continue through high school and college, and they did, now it became a paid park that they have to pay. And on top of that, as Deanna said, we were promised a horse arena. We are a horse people, horse community, and it's going to stay like that. But then everybody comes in and just so tired of this bait and switch. That's where it's at. And as you know, he and I know a conversation. I just met one of the builders and said, again, and that's what's happening over on Knoll Field right there. All of these things that were promised, and then at the end, they're taken away. I want to know who's making the deals personally. Who is making these deals? Because in the olden days, you make a contract, you make a deal, and it stays. But something's happening in there where at the last minute, they're pulling the rug out from underneath us. And when these homes over here and all of this is coming in at almost $800,000, have you guys seen the prices of those homes over there? There has to be money for us. When we grew up here, my son played in the field over there that Deanna's talking about on Marlette Street. I know, I was his baseball coach. That is it. I would like to propose that we regain, we're not even asking for anything new. We need to regain the things that we had. What happened to that park on Marlette? It's now nothing. It's nothing, but it's our land. So let's do something with it. It's already there. We don't have to buy it back from anybody. It's ours before some builder comes in there, decides to suck it up. So that piece of land, create a horse area over there, would serve that south side of Mariloma. Then if we were able to get back what was promised to us, which is nothing more than an empty field right now, over there on Belgrave, we could have our horse arena back over there. So that's what I'm asking for, okay?
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that wish to speak in public comments?
I just want to say something.
If you-
Can I stand?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was raised in, my name is Luis Diaz, and I was raised in Mariloma. I'm on 48th Street. I went to school, Rupa Middle, Trop, Rupa Valley High School. I'm raising my kids now in Mariloma. And my daughter, she wants to stay in Mariloma. So I just think that we should pay a little bit more attention to our community. Because we need parks, we need a couple parks there that we could walk our dogs.
Yes.
Just go walk, me and my wife would love to go walk, but we don't have that. We actually, on Belgrave, from Etiwanda to Hamner, there's easily like 3 to 4 parks, public parks. We, on our area, don't have not even one park. So I want my kids to have a park. I really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. I encourage any of you, now is not the best time to do this, but to have a conversation with Mr. DeGuid, and he can, our general manager, and he can explain to you how we've ended up with the parks that we have and how they've ended up where they are and what we're doing going forward to try to bring more parks to the community and the challenges that we have to face in order to do that, but that we're trying to overcome. Because we are trying to do as best as possible, bring parks to our underserved communities, and we are making those efforts. But it would be best just to talk to him about that. He's the expert on that. We do want you to know that, well, you are. And anyway, so thank you all so much for coming. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak? Okay. Perfect. Very good. Thank you. On our next item is our consent calendar. And all we have on it is the minutes from the last meeting. Does anybody have any comments, concerns, corrections, questions?
Well, we will approve of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And then item number 5 is our, item 5.1 is our fiscal year 2022-23 budget workshop.
Yes, thank you. And actually, for our audience, I think this would be a perfect night for you to have been here. Based on the comments and questions you have, I think we'll be able to, we're gonna be addressing some of it going forward. We do a presentation. In regards to this is our annual budget workshop that we do in preparation for next fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs July 1 through June 30th. Grab another chair here for him, but let me correct myself here. The Budget Personnel Committee has been working very hard on the budget to get us where we're at right now. It's been a great to get back and be doing this in person. I haven't been virtual for the last 2 years. It's been tough, The pandemic has obviously wreaked havoc on our budget the last couple of years. So much of our revenue is based off our recreation programs, which were non-existent. So I think we're at a good point right now. We are right now technically presenting you a budget that is in the red by about $100,000. But just from when the Budget Personnel Committee met last week, that's changed by almost $200,000 in our favor. We are confident when we bring the final budget to the board for consideration in June, we will be balanced, if not slowing some slight excess funds. One of the biggest challenges we face right now is so much of our data we rely on from the county in regards to our maintenance assessment district, that we don't get the majority of that information from the county till later in May. That has to do with the $15 in every home in the district pays towards park maintenance. Makes up about $475,000 or so of our budget. And there's been a lot of development this last year. We're anticipating that going up. We don't know exactly what that will be yet, as well as with the housing market like it has been. There's been so many new houses that have been built, as well as so many houses that have been sold. We do get a portion of property tax. Not the thousands of dollars that everybody tends to think of what it is. I live here in Rupa Valley. I use my tax bill to figure it out. I live in one of the older homes. I'm not part of a community facilities district. I pay our $15. And then we get 0.1% of every $100 that you pay in property taxes. So my house, I'm contributing back another $35. So $50 a year is all that we are paying towards park maintenance in Rupa Valley within the district here. Our newer homes, as the board is aware, all are part of community facilities districts that pay significantly more for park maintenance, and they pay towards the park construction. So that's why there is a perception of areas having parks over areas that don't. And it's something the board has been working very hard on the last couple of years to acquire new parkland in underserved areas. So I do have a presentation here. I do apologize to the board. I realized after finishing this up here, my slides did not change. And part of this is from our default slide when we present to the city regarding the senior center. So their logo is appearing too, so I apologize for that.
You guys like to turn your chairs.
Yeah, you want to-
It's also available on your phone.
You can watch on your
We
phone if
also
you like.
have our
Yeah.
app. Feel free to move your chairs. Turn.
Want some popcorn too?
Oh. Lots of room. Might as well.
You're fine, you're fine.
Might as well, yeah.
I can see it right here on my screen. Just want to give a brief revenue history. This goes back, 7 years now? From the 06-017 fiscal year. Our combined general fund, our combined operating budget was $3.2 million. Of that, $2 million is our general fund, which is also our maintenance assessment district. Our community facilities districts were contributing $1.25 million. Going down that column, they've both grown throughout the years. Really with the general fund keeping pace with the community facility districts. To where our proposed revenues for the general fund this year are $3.4 million right now. Those numbers are still probably low because we're waiting for our allocation numbers from the county, our property tax allocation. We are projecting an increase. Our settlement account with JCSD, we're projecting an increase, obviously, as well as our maintenance assessment district. We did get the CFD numbers from Koppel Grubel this week. And we'll be having a separate workshop regarding the CFDs themselves, but we're projecting for $3.4 million in our CFD funds. And just to remind the board, our maintenance assessment district funds that you see in your budget breakdown here that will pull up in a little bit, those are restricted. They can only be used for park maintenance, as well as the CFD funds can only be used for the specific park or facilities they're associated with. So we're projecting 3.5 million in revenues for the general fund. Maintenance assessment numbers will be available in May, like it says here. And we're currently reviewing the recreation numbers. You know, we've talked so much about the pandemic the last couple of years here. It really decimated the recreation department to, there was essentially no revenue in 2020, 2021, very, very little. And then we had so many start and stops, you know, this current fiscal year with the different waves of the pandemic that came in. We are really seeing a reluctancy in our registrations so far. Our programs that take place outside, we're seeing more and more people participating in. But our programs that meet indoors have still been very slow in returning. And so much of our recreation department is fee-based. So I might have to push this wall out.
Come on in.
So we are working on those numbers.
They're gonna
We have a chair
get
coming.
your chair. They're gonna get you a chair.
In this budget, there is a proposed marketing position. That is something that the board has really encouraged this past year. And it looks like we're gonna be able to make it happen. That position will be responsible for the marketing of all our activities, our programs, the branding of the district, our social media, our website, all priorities that the board has in mind. There's also a new maintenance position that is proposed, and that is funded through the CFPs associated with Shadow Rock development going on right now on the area north of the 60 freeway at Armstrong and Sierra. There's 3 parks under construction right now in that area. Also, part of that will be a purchase of 1 new maintenance vehicle for that maintenance personnel. And then the replacement of 1 maintenance vehicle. As we've talked about previously at the board, now that we are contracting out our landscape maintenance and our maintenance personnel are doing more upkeep within the facilities, we have 1 vehicle that we no longer need. That was our quote unquote tow vehicle. It's a 1-ton dually that doesn't matter what the maintenance guy's doing, he's getting 8 miles to the gallon in it. You know, 1 person driving around in a crew cab pickup truck is just not efficient for us. The challenges we face though, just like the general public, we are facing too, the availability of vehicles is just not there. I did reach out to our rep to try to just get some estimate numbers on vehicles. We cannot even, she cannot place vehicle orders until July at this point. And nor will funding be available, or I'm sorry, nor will they be able to give us estimates on the vehicles until July. And I've been told not to expect them until 2023. It's supply chain issues, just like everything else. We're gonna talk about some other stuff throughout the meeting here. And the proposed budget is that we would surplus out the 1-ton Chevy that we have after we acquire the 2 new vehicles, and then those funds would go to offset the purchase of the 2nd vehicle. The good news is that vehicle, I've been watching on the government auction sites, comparable vehicles, is going very, very high right now because it's it's a well-kept vehicle, low miles, and there's a demand for them. So it will not cover the complete new purchase of a vehicle, but it'll offset it significantly. And the newer vehicles, the newer pickup trucks are getting so much better mileage. Our newer vehicles are averaging closer to 20 miles per gallon, and that unit averages 8. So we're gonna make it up over the course of time. So the budget highlights for recreation, we've added concerts in the park. We've added Viva La Fiesta in the park that will take place at the Rancho Regional Sports Park in June. We are looking at the turf tank for the soccer park for the painting of the fields. And then we've added staff hours for expanded programming within the recreation budget as being proposed. The maintenance is a big chunk of our budget here. Reduced water allocations is a big concern we have. We're all hearing of the drought. We haven't heard exactly how it's going to impact us. I have had discussions with both water agencies saying, please take us into consideration. With homeowners not being able to water at home so much anymore, I know the city of LA just came out this week and it said, you're gonna be able to water 1 day a week. If that doesn't get better, you're gonna be watering nothing. We want to be able to keep the parks open and green-ish at least. So people have a place to go and recreate, go and play. If they're not gonna be able to water their lawns at home. So we're trying to keep that in consideration. I will say, and we've talked about it, we have reduced some of our water budgets as proposed for this next year because of the extensive work that our maintenance department has put in to ensure they're operating at their most efficient levels. So a couple of accounts like Rancho Mira Loma, Clay, we're able to reduce by a few $1,000s every year. Besides staff, our biggest expense here at the district is water. We're going to be spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 to $600,000 next year on water alone. Increased fuel costs, just like everybody at home. You know, we are seeing those increased fuel costs as well. I do want to remind the board, we are on a purchase program through the state of California. That's administered through them. Our maintenance staff, you know, uses their procurement cards at local gas stations around the district. We don't pay the price on the pump. You know, when it comes through, the receipt says that, but we actually get the bill we were looking at today, where we don't have to pay the California state sales tax being a government agency. So we are saving 40, 50 cents a gallon right now. You know, it does help out, but again, it has increased our operating costs. And it just generally increased material costs. Our PVC fittings, PVC pipe, everything we're buying, toilet paper, paper towels, all of that, we're experiencing increases, just like the general homeowner is right now as well. So we're just seeing increased costs across the board. The challenges we're facing right now is the continued fear of the pandemic. As I referred to before, you know, we're seeing a return in programming, but we have a lot of people that still are like, don't know what we're gonna do. You know, are we ready to come back to programming? They're afraid to come back to some of our recreation programs, childcare classes, because they're fearful if we have to shut down again, they would lose their current childcare provider. You know, that space would go to somebody else. We've heard that a lot. Again, inflation is hitting us across the board on everything we do. Material shortages, I talked about, you know, the availability of the trucks. You know, Kurt, our maintenance superintendent, will call me up and say, hey, Colby, we're running low on, you know, some sprinklers. I'm at site one, they have an entire case, I'm gonna buy it, because they don't know when they're gonna get more in. You know, so we're making sure we're stocking up where we can, where we typically would store that type of stuff to have an inventory. We're not necessarily able to do that right now, especially some of the larger PVC fittings that we don't, you know, 3 and 4 inch main lines that we have in our parks, we don't necessarily stock a lot of that fittings. Some of those we're having challenges finding right now. I know in talking with the contractor building Shadow Rock Park right now, there was a special 12-inch Y fitting they needed to do some of the storm drain lines. And there was one of them available in Southern California. He literally told his guy, go, start driving. I'll pay for it with my credit card. They drive all the way up to San Diego to get it because they just could not find it. So it's just hurting everything. And then our staffing issues. You know, we talked so much about that this year. We're getting better. You know, we're getting back to where levels we need to be. But it's still a concern that we have in being able to fully operate all of our programming, all of our activities. Staffing is something that the board, I think, is going to have a lot of discussion on this coming year. Cost of living is impacting all of us. And it's one of the challenges we're having in hiring and retaining staff. We have a changing workforce mentality. I don't know if it's the younger generation coming up, if it's the impacts of the pandemic. We are having, as an industry, park and recreation, it's a challenge for us to keep up with the changing dynamic. You know, so many people will get a job at Amazon, go work at Target, you know, that are paying great jobs. It's hard for us to keep up with some of those salaries that they're offering. We are trying to tout, you know, the fund that we have. It's a great place to work, especially if you want to go into the education field or something like that. But so many of these warehouse positions, my daughter was doing it. Target has a program now that they just call it on call. And you wake up in the morning, you say, I feel like working today. You check on the app. And they say, okay, the Target in Mira Loma needs 8 people today. And you're like, all right, I'll be there. You know, and they can just show up and work that day and not work for a week or two. And then, you know, it's a different mentality that employers are able to put out there that we just can't, the nature of what we do, we can't compete with. One of the things we have to look at is our merit step increases. I'm not proposing that we change our salary ranges. But right now, we have, for our recreation leader position, there's 9 steps within that range. Our starting and our ending steps are competitive throughout the year. But we have 9 steps as where most agencies have 5 or 6. So we have smaller increments. So I think some things we can do by changing that. So instead of being a 2.5% increase, it might be more like a 3 or 3.5. But I would encourage that the board look at those considerations. Comprehensive employment packages is one of our biggest challenges. I can let the board know that it looks like we'll be losing 2 of our full-time recreation staff over the next couple of weeks here, 2 positions that they've got in other agencies that are able to offer a more competitive benefit package than what the district offers here. It's not just the salaries. Our salaries aren't horrible. They're not, we would like to make them a little more competitive, we understand that, but they're able to offer different benefit packages that we're just not looking at right now. I don't think it's something we can do today, but it's something that we need to keep on our radar for the future. If we want to be able to keep staff retention. So questions right now before we dive, I don't want to dive into the detailed budget questions necessarily yet, but if any of the board members have questions regarding kind of where we're at right now, and I don't know if the budget personnel committee members wanted to make any comments of kind of how we got to where we are before we move on to the actual budgets itself.
Let's have a question.
Yeah.
For the reduced budget allocations, has the state put out any new updates?
For the water,
Yeah.
we haven't heard anything yet. It's, I feel something's coming. I just don't know what, I don't know when, I don't know how it's going to impact us. So we are following that on a daily basis.
I do know in the past, I've asked that question in Castros. And, around here, we are groundwater, and our groundwater is not doing too badly. The problem is if in Fontana, say, they don't have the groundwater, or they're using state water, then it may be they don't want us to use up our groundwater because we may need to take that groundwater and move it someplace else. So I have a feeling it's.
Yeah, one of the Cooper Community Services, one of the things they talk about is majority of their water that is used comes from wells. And I believe Rubidoux is the same way.
Oh, yeah.
We get very, very little from the Colorado River, and we get nothing from the Sierras. But it's hard for the state to say, you guys ration, you guys don't have to. It's an all or none, and we all understand that. But that's why we're trying to work with the local districts and, come up with some considerations so people still have a place to go and recreate if it gets as bad as we're all fearing right now. We had a question from the public. Is that acceptable?
Oh, I was going to get to that point. Where I
Okay.
was going to ask if there is any, do we have any other questions? Okay, would now be the appropriate time, as you said, you're going to moving on to other.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate right
Okay.
now.
Are you done with the screen here?
Yeah, I'm done with the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you want to look at a bunch of boring numbers still,
Yeah, we're not going to be done with the screen. He's going to be showing budget.
yeah, we're
numbers
going
on
to show
this.
some budget stuff here in a second, but
Was there a
believe
question
there's a
from the
question.
audience?
Well, I was wondering if we were allowed to interject and ask questions as the meeting goes, or if it was a
it's not
one.
a public hearing like that. No, unfortunately, we're still bound by the Brown Act.
I'm not familiar with that. so-
If,
The same rules that govern like a city council meeting.
yes, this isn't a town hall meeting in that way. We do have rules we have to follow. But I will occasionally ask if there's any questions. How's that? And at that point in time, feel free to ask a question. So
Can
if
we
you have a
ask?
question?
Yeah, I do have one. Instead of asking the questions at the beginning of the meeting, since I have no clue what's going to take place in the meeting, if we could ask our questions at the end, we could take
That's
notes
fine.
and maybe address, so
That's
we have a chance to kind of interact
Absorb it all.
with you guys,
That's
since we
fine.
know what.
Just understand, because the Brown Act, which we're governed by, the board can't necessarily respond or act on anything,
Right.
but they definitely take it under consideration. And as Ms. Johnson said, I'll be reaching out to you over the next couple of days here, and we can have some discussions and then start the dialogue and
Yeah,
better prepare you for what's coming in the future.
Okay, so right now you don't have a question. You want to wait till the end, get some more numbers up there and.
yeah, maybe
Okay.
get some more
That
numbers.
was-
More now.
I'd appreciate
Well, I
that.
had question real quick.
Yes,
This
please.
says there been any movement, any advancement on getting electric vehicles, electric trucks? Seeing as the state is really pushing hard for,
They are not available. As you're aware, both Ford, Chevy, and is it Rivian have come out with the electric vehicles. Both Ford and Chevy have their work model. And they are sold out for the next 3 years.
wow.
So it was something that I did inquire on and they just kind of chuckled. So, and the unique thing is both of them are only offering their work vehicle in a crew cab. Not a regular pickup, extra cab or, standard cab at this point. So that wouldn't necessarily fit our needs right now.
I did have a comment in regards to the staffing. I attended a Riverside Job Fair yesterday, and I do have quite a bit of notes that I want to share with Personnel Policy Committee that we might look into for ourselves in the future. It was quite active, and it was right in the middle of the mall, the Tyler Mall upstairs. But the personnel that were coming through were from 18 to 100, I'll say, in terms of you get a lot of people coming in. So I really like to see us look into a job fair in the future and
You've been
develop.
attending a number of them recently. I can say for our full-time positions, we're having phenomenal recruitments right now.
Oh, okay.
We really are. Our part-time is getting much better. We've had the most lifeguards we've ever had apply before.
Oh,
So that's great in that aspect.
so we do have an applicant flow.
Yeah, we're getting an applicant flow to where 6 months ago we didn't.
Oh, okay, because that's the comment that I remember we were looking at, and the policies and procedures and the benefits, how we want to enrich those as well and compare them to other agencies that I think you made mention. So, yeah, we do have a course to take on that.
Yes. So this is where we get into the fun numbers here. The far right-hand column is our proposed numbers for fiscal year 22-23, which would start in July. And the total general fund budget is $3.4 million. 1.6 of that is under administration. 1.2 is recreation. And then our maintenance assessment district is $607,000. Our expenses are down below here. The board is $54,000. That does take into consideration the election of our 2 divisions that are up this November. We'll talk about those numbers when we get to the breakdown there. Administration, $682,000. Recreation, $1.5 million. Our maintenance department, $20,000, and then the maintenance assessment district ends up being $1.2 million for a total of $3.5 million. It says right now we're upside down $100,000. But we are confident our revenue numbers will be increasing here prior, we'll have better estimates from the county and in the recreation department as well. These are a breakdown of our revenues here. As you see right now, our property taxes, very conservatively, we're looking at $775,000 in revenues. I still think those are gonna be higher. The property tax adjustment of $475,000, that's our settlement agreement with JCSD. We still keep it separated within the budget just for tracking purposes, but those are all unrestricted funds. The redevelopment pass-through is literally what it is. It's redevelopment pass-through. That's from the old redevelopment agency. Whenever funds come in, we have to write a check to the state that same year, or county actually, right? Yeah, money in, money out. It doesn't ultimately has a negative, has no impact on the budget. Some of these other ones here, some of the smaller ones are just some of our property tax unsecured. Those are people that haven't paid their property taxes on time that come in late, things along those lines. The one fixed one we have down there is the cell tower at Knowles and Rupert Community Center, $45,000 basically in revenue. We will have the project coming before the board. There is that proposed cell tower at Granola Park that we'll be discussing here shortly. That could potentially increase it, but it'll be going to park planning and then to the board here for consideration. Under recreation, the big revenue there is facility rentals. That's associated with Skyview and the Ranch Group Regional Sports Park. That's our biggest increase that we've seen over the past couple of years, going back to 2021. You see, we brought in $36,000 that year, and we're pushing $250,000 in projected revenues this upcoming year. I don't necessarily want to go through this line item by line item, but if there's something that jumps out to the board you have a question on, please don't hesitate to ask. You know, some of the things that we have learned this year, if you look at our light fee account number there, 4204. You know, we've brought in 57,000, we've upped that to 60,000. That's primarily associated with light use fees at the soccer park. That's why that's increased so much there. But something to keep in mind that we're watching closely here, we're all aware there is a bill in front of Congress right now to change daylight savings time.
Yeah.
If that happens, that will have significant impact. It'll actually help our youth leagues a lot. In the winter months, it won't be dark at 5 o'clock. It'll be dark at 6 o'clock. That's an extra hour of practice or games they get in without having to use lights. So we're watching that as well. I think it'll actually be a huge benefit to our youth leagues using the facilities and really help them out a lot. The negative is when we're coming to work at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's dark. We're still being pretty conservative, our youth classes, you know, we're projecting about 150 to 145,000 in revenue. I think this number is going to come up again before the budgets. Like I said, we're still seeing some reluctancy in coming back with the indoor programming, just because of concerns from the pandemic. And then the big one is the reimbursement from the city of Fruitful Valley for the Eddie D. Smith Senior Center is at $182,000. We are talking to the city with that. There may be a slight increase on that. We're still working through those numbers. Our maintenance assessment district. And then within that, there is a contribution from CFD 2006-1, 2007-1, and 2015-2. As you can see, they're not huge dollar amounts, with 6-1 have the biggest contribution of 87,000. 7-1 is associated, and 7-1 and 15-2 are both associated with Glen A1 Heritage, correct?
No, 15-2.
15-1 is associated with Glen A1 Heritage, and 15-2 is
Riverbend.
yes, a community, yeah. That was something that, yeah. Sky Park, yeah. So another $3,900. Again, it's not nothing that's gonna make or break our budget, but it is a small allocation from those CFDs the way they were formed. For the general contributions. Under the board here, really nothing's changed. With the big thing, Division 4 and 5 are up for elections this year. We've estimated $38,000 for those elections. One of the nice things is, because we just did complete our redistricting process with all the divisions now fairly balanced within a couple percent. We don't anticipate a big fluctuation between the different divisions when it comes to the election costs. When it comes to our elections, the board of the county register of voters, we're charged by the number of registered voters within that division. So they should be pretty consistent going forward, at least for the time being. Administration, nothing major is changing here. Some of our concerns, insurance, our liability insurance, we're told every year to expect big increases. Be prepared for it. You know, the natural disasters that have taken place nationwide have hit the insurance carriers hard. We are part of a joint powers authority as a government agency. We are self-insured, but we are part of a joint powers authority where we pool our money with other park and recreation districts. The reality is, if we had a major lawsuit against us for say $10 million, it would break us. By joining this JPA, we pool our money. When everything's settled from the that fiscal year, which takes 3 or 4 years, we get a slight refund, hopefully, but in certain situations, we could expect a slight bill. I'm knock on wood, it's worked out for us in the long run. We do have a policy through Capri, which is our JPA, an excess liability coverage. And that's where we're anticipating the increases coming. And we've budgeted for a 10% increase across the board for all of our liability insurance associated with the parks. And we've also budgeted 10% on workman's comp. So nothing major there under admin. Again, recreation, we're keeping most of recreation pretty flat. I had proposed in the budget that we're gonna move our advertising services, our recreation guide, our promotional equipment, all that is going under admin. I didn't point that out before, I'm sorry. And that our marketing person will be under admin and managing all that, just to kind of keep it together. The bottom line doesn't necessarily change, it just kind of moves some shelves around. Again, nothing huge in recreation that we're anticipating just because of our, reluctancy to really see a massive influx of registrations. We have increased our part-time salaries. Right now it's at $429,000 proposed. I think that might be a little high, to be honest. I think that's something that we're really looking at right now. And they've asked the recreation department to sharpen their pencils and really look at, it's almost doubling, or it's almost a 30% increase off of this current fiscal year, which is just probably not exactly where we'll end up at. We are seeing lots of reservations at Skyview Event Center as we anticipated. I believe right now we're booked all the way through mid-July. August is historically very slow for rentals across the board. A lot of people are on vacation and pick back up in September, which we anticipated for that facility. Same thing for the soccer park. We have a massive amount of reservations, rentals coming through there. So we're pleased with that. And the other thing that we're taking consideration, as the board knows, we are working on renovation plans for the Rupert Community Center. We anticipate that going under construction, hopefully by September, but definitely this fall. And we don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if it's 3 months or 6 months. So we've been very conservative in our revenue numbers associated with that. But we do anticipate when it's back open, we'll have more reservations as well as recreation classes taking place there.
I had a question on that one.
Please.
Full-time rec salary. This fiscal year, it's 197. Next fiscal year, it's 483. It seems
So what that was,
2.5 times.
no, what it was is,
That includes the 95 to see below that's a negative for the Eddie D. Smith Center. That's included in full salaries to calculate the taxes as well as the CalPERS.
It's still more than double.
and it was misstated in the current budget. It was the way it was written in the current budget. If you looked at it, the Eddie D. Smith Senior Center was listed as a positive 95,000. It was something that we fixed with Rick. Yeah, no, but right, this, the 244 she's referring to, you're looking at basically a double in full-time salaries.
More than double.
Yeah, more than double. It's not truly that way. It was a misstatement within this current budget. The current budget is actually 360,000, I want to say. But it is an increase in staff salaries.
Okay, but it went up. So
But
it's
it's,
going up.
if you remember, we've added 2 other positions that weren't there before. The specialists at Skyview and the senior center that weren't part of the original budget as well from last year.
The Janet's position at the senior center. Okay, those were not in there. Okay,
Yeah,
but does not the city pay for that?
that's the reimbursement down here.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
negative 95.
very good.
It is misleading. I definitely understand that concern. And I can show you with a little more detail.
Okay,
So at our maintenance department, this is some general fund maintenance that just covers some of our basic operating costs. But our real maintenance is under the maintenance assessment district. That's all of our water, landscape maintenance across the board there. We're keeping this pretty flat. We're anticipating an increase. We haven't been notified of any water rate increases yet. I'm not gonna be surprised if we don't get them. We haven't been notified of any electric increases, but we all know it keeps going up. With the cost savings we're seeing on our water right now because of our conservation efforts, as well as the investment the district made back in 2020 over LED lighting upgrades across the district. And then the solar at Throughput Community Center, where we've seen consistent savings across the board there. So we're not having to raise those because we're seeing the savings. So our efforts we're seeing the fruits of our effort at this point. Again, nothing else here jumps out other than our fuel charges. We're anticipating increases in fuel. The one thing I did want to just kind of point out to the board, under part-time salaries here, recreation. I did jump over it, I'm sorry, I want to go back to it. There's the third line item down here, CFD recreation allocation,
Wait a minute.
page 6 or 8 of 13, I'm sorry, but that's under
Okay,
that negative number in red.
uh-huh,
What that is, as you're aware, we have recreation staff that go around and lock and make sure our parks are secure at night. And the CFD parks that they're locking up reimburse the general fund for their salaries. So that's what that is.
I've only seen one red number on that page, and that's Eddie D. Smith.
It should be actually my.
It's 24,000.
Yeah, 24,752.
Yeah.
And.
Oh, I see, I thought it was Eddie D. Smith, never mind.
No, yeah, no,
Okay.
that's for the
Okay.
closing of the parks.
Okay, sorry.
Again, nothing here within the maintenance department, no major purchases or anything going on here. That's kind of where we're at budget wise. I know this is a lot to take into consideration here at one time. One of the things that we are watching closely is the development going on here in the district. As developments coming in, the board has expressed the desire to use those funds for development of areas that are underserved. A lot of that's going to be a balancing act from what we can build versus what we can afford to maintain. You've heard me say it a lot of times, it's easier to build a facility than it is to maintain it. The one-time funds that we come across are a lot easier to come across than the ongoing maintenance costs. The other thing I want to express, especially we have a great crowd here tonight, is what it currently costing to develop a park. Right now, including grading, utilities, and all that fun stuff we have to do before we go anything pretty and decorative. It's costing anywhere between $650,000 to $800,000 an acre to develop a park. So that's a lot of money. The operational costs, it's costing us about 45 cents a square foot to maintain on an annual basis. So it's a very costly process. The CFD 2016-1, which is a district-wide CFD, we'll be talking about that in another couple of weeks here as part of our CFD presentation. Those funds can be used at any new facility that we acquire after 16-1. And when we look at the budgets, there's a lot of money in that. There appears to be a lot of money in that CFD, but it's, don't let the big dollar amount, get you excited. We have to be very mindful of that because we have to put money into reserves for that CFD as well. Those facilities not only have to maintain and pay for the operation of the current facility, they have to have funds put away for the rehabilitation of those facilities over time. All of our schedules have life expectancies, from playgrounds to drinking fountains, backstops. Everything varies in time, so we have to be able to put away by law those funds to rehabilitate those facilities. So while we're showing a $100,000 increase in that account this coming year, we have to put a lot of that away towards our reserves, so we can afford to renovate the facilities that they're maintaining as well.
Replacing the playgrounds,
Replace the playgrounds, on top of that, the big thing that we've talked so much about this year is vandalism. Our vandalism account, we've spent almost $50,000 this year. We spent $8,000 at Veterans Memorial Wall, replacing vandalism of the plaques there. Windows at the Rupa Community Center, windows at Veterans Memorial Park have been busted out twice. That's $5,000–6,000 a pop. Wire theft, we just had somebody steal an air conditioning supply line at the soccer park. You know, it adds up, and it's been ridiculous this year, plain and simple. Our trees are getting big and beautiful, which is what we want, but with that, we have to maintain them. It's costing us more and more in our tree accounts. That we have to make sure that we have the funds allocated there. We just can't let them not be trimmed. It now creates a liability for us. If we can't show the consistent maintenance on trees, something breaks, falls, hits somebody, hits into a house, we're gonna be liable for it. You know, these are all things that we have to take into consideration as we are growing and growing. You know, that first slide there, you know, we've doubled our operating budgets over the last year. Over the last 7 years, we've opened 17 new parks. We have 3 new parks under construction. We have a lot of expenses going out as well that we need to be managing. So I think the budget personnel committee is doing a great job looking at this budget. It's a lot to undertake. I think that they would echo those sentiments. But you know, there's things that they still need to be talking about that'll be coming before the board here in May and June. Regarding water, regarding salaries, regarding our cost of living adjustments and our inflation. So the job's not done yet. But I think where we're at right now, I'm very comfortable. So.
I think what we'll do is we'll find out if the board has any other questions on the budget, then we'll ask the audience if they have any questions, and then we'll do final comments on it. Anybody on the board have any questions at this point?
Yes, what constitutes an admin salary versus a regular employee salary?
Give me a quick second. Let's let them move back so I can hear you. I'm sorry.
Now we did it.
No worries.
So what was that again on admin?
What constitutes an admin salary versus a regular employee salary?
So it's just a department. So admin is myself, Loretta, Marilyn, the marketing person. Recreation is our recreation staff, and maintenance is. It just, so the CFDs do contribute a portion of our salaries in admin. They can't pay for any recreation. They can pay for maintenance associated with their parks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Page 12, 13,
12 of what?
13.
12, 13? Okay.
So that's for our full-time salaries, right?
That's full-time maintenance salaries, correct?
Yeah, so I just want to see if we can just breeze through a little bit, since we have an audience here and I know we're trying to fill in some positions, kind of what these full-time positions entail.
So these are our maintenance staff that take care of our parks and our buildings. We have 10 maintenance staff. Part-time, yes. And that basically puts a maintenance staff on 7 days a week. Majority of them working Monday through Friday, obviously, but we do have one staff that works Saturday and Sunday at all times, opening facilities and responding to who knows what, you know, you can't believe the calls we get over the weekend, so. We have to be able to respond, and then that's also our on-call and overtime pay. We have a staff member on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have main lines break regularly. Kurt and our maintenance superintendent was out at Clay Park yesterday. While he was standing there going through some stuff with David, the master valve burst right in front of him. It just happens, you know. Those types of things happen very regularly.
Anything else? No. Okay. Does anybody in the audience have any questions? It's a lot. Yes, go ahead, Renee.
Since I'm just seeing this right now and glasses and having to fight with all of this stuff, yeah, this isn't working yet, but I guess right off the top of my head, when is this budget approved?
It has to legally be approved by July 1.
By July 1. So there's room in here now for us to kind of open it up and take it apart and take a look, right?
And that's what we're doing right now, exactly.
Well, no, for us.
For you, oh, yes, and this is all available on our website. Everything is completely transparent.
And then to be able to have input, do we do that here or do we do that at the big meetings?
What big meetings?
The city council meetings?
No.
City council, we are completely separate from the city council.
Oh, okay,
This is an elected board of directors, just like the city council.
okay.
So when you vote for a city council member, depending on the division where I think you said you were in Jose's division, he's not up for election this year.
Uh-huh.
He will be in 2 years.
Okay.
So you would have the ability to vote for that.
So in other words, you come to us.
Yes.
Yeah, there you
Either
go.
submit a written comment or come back to a meeting and make a comment.
And then we also have budget personnel committee meetings. That the
Okay.
next one, I believe, is May 17th, but we'll confirm that one with you off the top of my head. And you can sign up on our website to receive notifications on all of our meetings, and you can come
Yeah.
attend anything. Everything is open to the public.
Great. So just hearing, so definitely want to hear about this. You know, any of us here, we all have budgets, right? I got budgets, you guys have budgets, we all have to live in a budget. And I think that's one of the things that we'll all understand, you know? And once we take a look at this, we can decipher it and see if there's anything that's, you know, as we learn, as I learned personally, you know, understanding the expenses and stuff, but then understanding too what's reasonable and fair. We're a small community and yes, we're growing. So hopefully any kind of increments on salaries or any big, like you brought up different questions on, or you did about, wow, what is that big increase right there? Those are the things that we'll be taking a look at, you know, like I said, I'll be definitely taking a look at and stuff and seeing how all that plays out, because, you know, you've got $5, you've got to figure out where to spend it. I think one of the things too, I'd like to say is that you talked about 3 new parks coming aboard. How many roughly?
3.
3 new parks. So those are the things is there any in our area? Okay,
And those are community facility district parks. So the people who buy houses in those new communities will pay for those parks.
right,
Yeah.
right. But as we even have people like our neighbors, a part of our group, who have built brand new houses. And he built a new house and then was charged $10,000 for parks. And he just has a basic question, where's my park? And then actually made a call and was, here's the exact words, guys, and this is what kind of offends me, is that you have a park, it's in Vernola. You've got to drive over there. That was the question, you know, that's what the comment came back to him. It's like, but I don't live in Vernola, that's like, you know, way over there, we live right here. So you know what we're shooting for. And I don't like to use these words, but this one really fits, what is it called? Equitably, can you say that, pronounce that correctly? To me, you know, but in this kind of a case, yeah, we just want, like I said, I know you stated you pay $33 or something like that, you know, I get it, the older houses, this and that. But the reality is that we don't get to section off Mariloma. So when all the new homes that are coming in, that's still Mariloma. So we get a portion of that money, that's it. That's why when the builders come in and I told you, and when I addressed everybody, I said, what we have here, guys, is gold. We have gold. They're coming to us because we have the gold, we have the land. And that's it. So we just need to take and just be fair and move stuff around. So we'll take definitely, I'm excited to take a look at the budget. I know I live on my budget and I understand that process. So looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Very
Good, thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Oh,
So at the beginning of the meeting, you mentioned that you were having a difficult time with hiring and retention, correct? Incentives.
We have, yes.
For part-time
It's getting
employees.
better, but we have, yes.
Okay. But then recently you mentioned that you have like a lot of applicants, like a high amount of applicants for like lifeguards and other positions. So are you having a hard time retaining employees and having employees apply? Or do you have a lot of employees and lots of people waiting to apply?
Recreation part-time staff has been a challenge. They tend to be high school and college students. We've been able to hire a decent amount lately. So I can't tell you what the retention's been because it hasn't been long enough to truly state that. But we are recruiting for a couple full-time positions right now, and our response has been incredible. Arguably the best response we've had for a full-time position in my time here at the district. So I think that says a lot about where the market's going. And we're gonna have a couple more positions that are gonna be opening up here, unfortunately, but I'm confident that those recruitments will be solid as well, so.
Okay, and then I also noticed that in the budget, there was like renting services and promo supplies. Are those advertising like tools that are going out into the community to recruit for these part-time positions within the city? Like high school students? community
Some of them,
college
yes,
students?
some of it, yes. Some of it is also our recreation guide that gets mailed to every resident within the district. With the pandemic and basically the non-existent recreation programs, we haven't done it this fiscal year, but the plan is to bring it back. That's our main marketing tool within the district. And we advertise anything from recreation programs, special events, facility rentals, employment opportunities, as well as contract instructors we're looking for. So it is our number one marketing tool, yes.
Okay, and that's a plan for this fiscal year?
It's bringing it back, yes.
Okay, bringing it back, because I
Bringing it
have never received anything in the mail from
I'm
Parks.
very disappointed to hear that, because I can guarantee you received it and you probably thought it was junk and threw it away.
I doubt
You
it.
hurt my heart.
Get all that
If you-
stuff.
Yeah, because we were sending them out twice a year prior to March of 2020. We sent them out twice a year.
It should be going to every residential address within, and I'm gonna be honest, we are at the mercy of your mail person.
Well, that's a whole nother.
The little dude on the little horse. I'm sorry.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Oh, sir.
Question like, the old part, but the old part like, the one is on, 63 way, like, on, far right. There is
Far right?
the one with the dinosaurs and all that.
That's a nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
The Discovery Center,
Yeah.
that's operated by the Rupa Mountains Discovery Center. It's a nonprofit organization.
There is another one in Miranoma that used to be like, two little baseball field.
That is not land owned by the city or the Parks District. That's actually owned by the Santa Ana Water Company.
There's one.
That's actually, can I ask you, add on to his question? Because that's when we did talk about that, brought that up. So,
So we are getting off topic here, and it could be considered a violation of the Brown Act.
okay.
So we need to kind of.
That's the kind of things you need to talk to him about.
And I can explain some misunderstandings that are associated with that.
Yeah, clarify something a little there. That was great.
Are there any comments from the board concerning the budget? I did have one comment, but any of you, the rest of you have any comments?
No.
Okay, one thing I wanted to bring up, because I know very soon we'll be talking about inflation and the employee salary schedule and how we want to handle that. And I just want to throw this out there as a possible idea. Instead of, how do I put this? I've explained it to Colby. He thought I should bring it to your attention. So as we look at
For the
inflation.
budget personality to consider.
Yeah, and for the whole board to consider as well, is instead of looking at just salary adjustment or cost of living or whatever you want to call it, to me, that is what you call a regressive way of giving money to our employees, because the higher your salary, if you give a percentage, the more you're going to get, and the lower your salary, the less you're going to get. But yet milk still costs the same and gas still costs the same, no matter whether you make $17 an hour or you make $30 an hour. And so I just wanted to throw out there as a possibility that we look at giving our employees a possible salary schedule adjustment percentage, and then also give all the employees a one-time amount of money, whatever that is, and they would all get the same amount of money. Because to me, that seems the fairest, because it doesn't matter where you are on the salary schedule, you're paying the same amount per gallon of gas. I just wanted to throw that out there as a possibility. That's something we could think about. And to me, that makes it fair, because I feel bad that, oh, we'll give everybody 4%. Well, the guy who makes $17 an hour still pays 5 something per gallon of gas, but he's not gonna get very much out of that 4%.
Well,
So-
being on that committee, that's a good suggestion.
Just something to think about.
As always, we do want the input, but coming from that field, we really want to do some survey and some research to ensure that we are doing the best now and for the future, but
Oh, yeah.
thank you for
It's just a
that.
thought. It's just a thought idea.
Yeah, and when Ms. Johnson brought it to me at first, I was kind of like, it made me think, and I think it's something that has some validity that should be researched more, and I'll bring some money, some more information to the committee and some kind of real life examples with our
Right, and that's truly what
how it applies out.
Yes, that's true, Amy. Thank you.
So no other comments on the budget? Okay. Communications and committee reports, general manager's report, Mr. Duglin?
Yes, so just a reminder, our youth basketball registration is going on right now. We have skills registration, skills day a week from Saturday, May 7th, out at Avalon Gym. I did attend the town hall meeting earlier this week at the Eddie D. Smith Senior Center, and the city has asked that represent the park district at the upcoming 4 between now and the end of the year. It was well attended. A lot of good questions came about it. A couple of stuff related to the Parks District from the brief presentation that we gave. So, always positive to get out information regarding the Park District. Swim registration is open. It is going very well. We do have a lot of scholarship available for children under the age of 5 for free or reduced swim lessons. So if anybody knows anybody, please let us know. Swim lessons will be at Rubino High School in the morning and the Drupa Valley High School in the evenings, as it has been the last couple of years. Again, excited about that. And then the city's, the board members have heard a lot about the city parade that they're planning for June 11th, and you've seen our name associated with it.
November 11th.
I'm sorry, November 11th. Did I say September 11th? June, oh, I'm way off. I apologize. November 11th. And I will have a presentation solely on that coming before the board here shortly. I've asked the city to give a detailed list to us of what they're anticipating, what they'd like to see our help with. But the reality of it's going to come down to the day of logistics. One of the challenges the city has is they don't have the staff like we do. And they don't have the expertise in events as, staging and stuff like that. So I don't think it may be a major impact to the budget that's gonna be a concern. The city definitely sponsors a lot of our activities. July 3rd celebration coming up here. They cover the sheriff costs, which is in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. I think it's a great partnership for us to go forward with, but I'll have a separate presentation for you guys with a better breakdown of what it is that the request really is. Other than that, that'll conclude my manager's report tonight, and I'm tired of talking, frankly.
Okay, I'll start over here. Board comments, Mr. Leach.
Yeah, it's really good to see people back in this boardroom, the public coming in. It's been a couple of years since we've had a group of any size, let alone this big. And I personally love hearing your comments and your opinions on where we should go in the future. These parks belong to you guys. And, that's the way I see it. So your input is always welcome here. Glad to see you coming back, and hopefully we could rearrange the room for our next meeting to more accommodate. We were not expecting this, so sorry about the shuffling around, but it's still good to have you all here.
We're still in our semi-COVID setup.
Yeah. Mr. Castle.
Yeah, just to echo Mr. Leisha, thank you all for being here, especially y'all residents of Mira Loma. And so we understand there's some concerns and things to address, and so I hear you on. We hope to keep this conversation going so we can make some of these things happen. Thank you.
Mr. Davies.
Yes, and again, to piggyback off Ross and Edgar, I'll be here as well to lend an open ear to the residents of Miraloma. I'm your board member, so definitely be here after if you'd like to come up and we can chat.
Ms. Boone?
Thank you. Yes, it was a very welcoming surprise. One thing that was mentioned, and I'll re-mention it, that we will go forward in our meetings in actually introducing ourselves and the division that we represent. Although we work collectively, you should know who your representative is. We like that partnership. We like face-to-face, and we are learning there. There's three of us that are newbies that have learned real quick, what it is that you are expecting from us. We have constituency that is out there, and we definitely want to say that you voted for us, you put us in this position, and we need to be working for you. So please, share what you have learned today. Hopefully there have been some learning. It's always a learning curve for us as well as yourselves. But share it, and that's how we get the busyness that we have here. For those of you that said, you came after work and all of that, I can't say enough about that kind of comment. This too is, giving of ourselves, but that's because that's what we want to do. So again, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And I want to thank you too. Please know, it is a constant state of conversation amongst all of us and with Mr. DeGuid about the underserved areas of our community. And we have vast numbers of unserved areas in our community, including significant parts of the Miraloma area, significant parts of the Rubidoux area, significant parts of the Glen Avon area, Indian Hills, Harupa Hills. All of those places don't have parks. And we are constantly in the process of trying to find the money, usually through development, I'm going to be honest with you, where we can both get a piece of land, develop it, have the money to develop it, and then have the money to maintain it. And so we're constantly trying to do that. And it's never going to be as fast as we would like it to be, but I do want you to know that that is a constant conversation amongst ourselves. That is our main goal. I just want to mention the Meet the Machine event that we had at Granola Park last Saturday. My daughter and I went by there. It was so fun to see the kids lined up to get on a fire truck or get on a backhoe, or what I thought was funny, the kids that I saw having the most fun were on the city bus. They were just running up and down the aisles on the city bus and sitting on it and looking out the window. And I thought that was a really fun event. And what I loved about that event is it was free for the public and it wasn't exceedingly costly for us. And that is the best kind of event that we can have, that people enjoy it and everything like that. So anyway, committee reports, we have the minutes for the Budget and Personnel Committee. Obviously, we had our presentation tonight on the budget. But are there any other questions? And then we have the Bylaws Ad Hoc Committee. Is there anything that we need to know about that?
Just that we moved everything forward to our attorney, Mr. Owen, and when that comes back, then I believe we will have a presentation for the board.
Okay, great, thank you.
For the budget, the recommendation that you mentioned, anything that we want to explore and pass for the next fiscal year, we can discuss it between them, right? It can be
I'm not,
for any recommendations for the,
if you have a recommendation that you want to send to the budget personnel to look at,
such as the one that Ms. Johnson mentioned.
yeah,
Anything that
Yes.
we want to implement.
Yeah,
we can
this
discuss.
would be the time to look at it, yeah. So if you have something, you can send it to me and I can add it to the agenda. Or, address it with one of the committee members as well. We just have to be careful with Brown Act violations and serial meetings.
Okay,
So probably your best bet is to go through me.
all right,
Perfect.
agenda items for future board meetings. I did have one. And were you gonna say something, Mr. Stiglitz?
I just want a couple committees we need to schedule too.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'll go back. Future committee meetings.
Just to confirm, we'll be having Monday afternoon, a recreation facilities and special event meeting. Looks like it'll be at 5:30, correct? So I will get that agenda out tomorrow morning. And then we will be needing to schedule a park planning meeting. We finally got back plans for the Paradise Knolls Linear Park. And then some requests from the developer regarding the additional 2.75 acre park we'll need to discuss before it comes to the board. And then the other one that we've been kind of waiting on for the weather to turn into our favor. As the board recalls, last year, one of the goals you set forward was through the Trails and Arenas Committee is public meetings regarding the replacement of the arenas at Larimore Park, potentially Felspar Arena, and here at McThompson Arena. So I want to get an evening meeting scheduled out at Larimore Park, a community outreach meeting. Now that it's warming up and it's lighter later in the evening, so I'll be reaching out to those committee members to schedule those over the next coming weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
I did have a comment in regards to the Veterans Wall Committee, if I may enter that. And because we have an audience, I think there was someone that mentioned something about communication that they had not received. Again, if you can share with us directly to Mr. Colbert or your division representative, how we can do better in that arena in communicating events like this, we would really truly appreciate. We have been looking at being the committee into that specific area, that being the Veterans Wall that is coming up on May 21st. And again, we want as many people there of the community. It is a great event. This will be my second year actually attending, but I can see that people really need to know what that is all about and be part of it. So please, be the ambassadors for that. And if we could do better to communicate that out and get, nominees to come in and say that you'd like to have this person considered and going on the wall, we want to do that. I mean, that is a legacy that this city is certainly putting into place, and to stand there and be able to read a member of your family or extended family and know that you were part of it as well, we would truly feel that we've done our job. So please let us know on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Any other agenda items for future?
for as far as committee meetings, do we need to announce our closed session?
We did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to,
No, that'll be a separate agenda. That'll be a separate agenda coming out. I know it too.
the plan for the rededication of the arena at Horseshoe Lake Park. Remember, we're naming that arena has a name. It was named in honor of the woman whose name is escaping me. But you know who I'm talking about. And we had been kind of waiting to do anything to put a sign up and rededicate it because of the pandemic. But now that we're kind of at a point.
Yes, EH.
Ellen.
Yes.
Ellen.
Yes,
Ellen.
yes.
Cheryl Schmidt, remember, is
Yes.
the lady.
Yeah, it'll come to me as soon as the meeting's over.
Yeah. But the second you said E, I remembered it was Ellen.
Yes.
So that arena has that name. We just need to put up a sign
Rededicate it.
and rededicate it, reach out to her family and make that an event. And we just haven't done it because that little pandemic.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that's something that needs to necessarily be on a future board meeting. If not, then if we could just go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Upcoming meetings, as you can see here, May 2nd is our next meeting and May 26th, our meeting after that. And Loretta, if you wouldn't mind telling me what time it is.
Sure, I'm showing is 7:53.
And so I will go ahead and adjourn